Don't let YouTube decide what information you get. That's your choice. YouTube is deleting our videos and cuts you off from a source of honest reporting. Make sure you don't lose access to NTD's news content, and take a quick moment to subscribe to our newsletter so no matter what happens here, you'll keep your access to a trustworthy news source.
Out here in the wide open plains of South Dakota, having good company is something you don't take for granted. Midland, one of several towns in this area, has a population of about 100 people. And in this town lies a place of warmth and hospitality, Straupel Hotel. The two-story hotel was home to dozens of pipeline workers for months. And when the pipeline's construction came to an end, so did their stay at Straupel Hotel. Laurie Cox, the hotel's owner, did her best to hold back tears when they left.
It was just kind of, devastating. It felt like, to me, it was a death of the family. These workers really became part of the community that we have, not just here in Midland, but Phillip, Murdo, Kadoka.
A few miles away from Straupel Hotel is one of the oil pump stations along the would-be Keystone Pipeline. The workers there, from welders to electricians, would number 60 to 70. After they left, Laurie thought about how it would impact her business.
By the time, more of them left, and just sitting there really starting to think about the full effects that this had. It's not just the workers that I had here, it's the workers that I would have had here.
But it wasn't just business that was lost. The lively energy brought by the pipeline workers was also gone as well. Laurie remembers when they were still here.
We had guys coming and going, some that were here for a lengthy period of time. But it was, even just the dog. Heidi would sit here and wait for them to come home. She knew what time it was when they would come back to the hotel. And, she'd walk them up to their rooms, or she'd, sit and have dinner with them. Many nights, we would be doing our own meals at the same time that they were doing theirs, or 2 or 3 times in which we had our dinner together, where they would buy the materials and we'd prep them and have a big shindig, before somebody would take off to their next assignment or whatever. So to me, it was the perfect energy that this hotel was meant to be, to where people felt like it was that home away from home. And that's where I always wanted it to be.
The hotel, named after John Straupel, has been around since 1907. Laurie says she hopes the lively atmosphere will come back. Reporting by Tran, NTD News. At a South Dakota electric company, a huge amount of capital has been put on hold. The company has around $14 million worth of equipment. It's all waiting to be put to use. I'm here at West Central Electric Cooperative's warehouse, and behind me are 2 sub-transition transformers. Each of them cost $750,000 and have been sitting here since 2013. They were actually scheduled to be sent to one of the oil pump stations to provide more power, but after President Biden canceled the Keystone Pipeline's construction, it looks like these 2 will have to sit back a while longer. West Central has worked on the Keystone Pipeline since the beginning in 2008, but then one of Biden's first-day executive orders put a stop to their work.
We put a lot of time into it, which, they paid for, but it sure helped us here at the co-op. So yeah, it was a little disappointing to see something like that pulled away with a swipe of a pen and 10 minutes after it's sworn in or whatever, but, I guess it's the way it works in Washington these days. So.
The company wasn't spared of any losses either. Jeff Birkeland, the CEO of West Central Electric, is in charge of over 3,000 employees, and they cover over 7,000 square miles of land. He hoped for their work on the pipeline to bring more revenue to deal with the high electricity rates.
What it means to us, had we been able to fulfill our contract and move forward with that power, roughly our members, West Central Electric, we're out $90 million. That's what that means to us.
It also would have given $4 million in state sales tax revenue. For Birkeland, the pipeline seemed like the only opportunity to help his members grow, but he's still hopeful for future prospects.
I have to be optimistic. No is not an answer. That's not how I was raised. It's you got a problem, you got to find a solution. We got to work together. There's give and take on both sides, and that's how our country was founded.
Birkeland added he understands people's concerns about why the pipeline shouldn't be built, but he thinks stopping the project altogether is not the best solution. Reporting in South Dakota, Don Tran, NTD News. In an interview with the Epoch Times, South Dakota Representative Dusty Johnson criticized President Biden for his decision. Hours after inauguration, the president signed an executive order stopping construction of the Keystone XL oil pipeline in South Dakota. It was mainly out of environmental concerns, but Congressman Johnson said the pipeline met their burden of proof to get local, state, and federal permits.
The president's rejection of all of that, in essence, his veto of all of those dozens of other permits, is a staggering attack on the rule of law. It's a mistake, and it risks impacting millions of lives in this country.
Congressman Johnson talked to local business owners who lost a lot when the pipeline shut down. In Murdo, an electric company saw $90 million go to waste, their equipment collecting dust in their warehouse. And in Midland, Strapa Hotel's revenue slowed down drastically after the pipeline workers left.
And we heard a dozen stories like that in Phillip and in Midland. You know, this is going to have a chilling effect on the willingness of Americans to invest in free enterprise opportunities. Because if somebody can make a project like this disappear overnight, they can make other projects disappear as well.
Congressman Johnson also said Biden is not an expert on the Keystone Pipeline. He said the president had a pie-in-the-sky approach to a project that's been around for over a decade. But Johnson did say he's willing to work with Biden.
I'll work with anybody to do good. If our country is going to succeed, then that's going to mean that we have a Biden administration that succeeds. But the president is going to need to choose a lane. He can't, on one hand, talk about unity and unity and unity and bipartisanship and working with Republicans, and then, on the other hand, have all of his actions run contrary to that rhetoric.
After Biden's executive order, Johnson joined 85 House Republicans to introduce the Keystone XL Pipeline Construction and Jobs Preservation Act. The legislation would allow construction to keep going on the Keystone XL pipeline without a presidential permit. Reporting by Bowen Shao and Don Tran.